Hey everybody, this is Doug Mark from Learning Zen here with 5 franchising questions. With my guests today, we've got 2. So we've got Monty Miller, CEO and President of Ochatect Maestro, and Madhav Surapanini, Chief Revenue Officer, CRO at Ochatect Maestro, both based out of the kind of Dallas, Texas area. Welcome, gentlemen. How you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Doing great, Doug.
We follow in the same circles in business quite a bit. We have some shared accounts that we've partnered with. And I always kind of explain your particular product to our clients as making the data that you retrieve actually actionable. I think it would be great for our audience if you all could kind of explain what is Maestro for those that don't already know, and also just kind of how does it support the franchising community?
Just to clarify, Ochatect is the company and Maestro is the product. What we basically solve is the problem where brands have these multiple solutions and systems that all need to work together in order to understand what's happening within a brand. So just like a conductor in an orchestra manages multiple instruments, as you can see by the logo on our hats and Monty's shirt, the Maestro logo also represents how we manage multiple systems and softwares to bring them all together so they work in sync harmoniously.
And that's a perfect answer. It's also the logo makes a lot of sense. So I'm a child of a former conductor of a big band, Freeze Brothers Big Band. Shout out to my dad, Jerry Mark. But I will say this, that I think of Maestro, I think of it that way, right? So we've got the conductor and they're kind of controlling whether, the brass is coming in or it's time for the strings or it's percussion time. The same way that Maestro allows you guys to kind of conduct, okay, we've got data coming from my ERP, my CRM, and my LMS. Can you kind of pull that together and create some KPIs from that and make some critical business decisions? And I feel like Maestro is one of the only ways to do that, and you do it extremely well. Is that a decent summary as well?
Yeah, it really is, because when you talk about the insights that a business has, it's not from one system or 2 systems. It's all the systems combined that go into running a brand or running a location that truly tell you, or a franchisee or a franchisor, what's happening within their business. So you technically have to connect all these different elements together to understand and have that visibility within the location or at a ZOR level across all the locations that you may have underneath your umbrella.
We talk about the reporting side of it, and obviously that's the key strength and really where the meat is. But I feel like there's some, added functionality that we should talk about as well, which is, I believe I'm describing this correctly, and if I'm not, you will correct me, but you also get, single sign-on capability, so you can actually sort of access all of those tools from the Maestro as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I'll jump in here, and absolutely it's correct, Doug. And the whole idea behind the Maestro is to make life easier, not harder, more complicated. Because to Madhav's point, with all of these different systems that don't talk or don't work too well together, when you have that orchestration, that symphony of business applications, then you get the answers. You can see what's going on. You get a good pulse of what's going on with your business. You understand which location's performing well, which one's not, and then you can jump in and address that. It's much easier for a franchisor to help an ailing franchisee location versus starting a new one. We've all heard those horror stories. So this is really about every location having the same tools, same process, same applications, and same workflow, so that they can all be on the same page with regards to how their businesses run and what they need to do to be successful.
That's perfect. And I honestly feel like that is a layer that we've been kind of waiting for in franchising for a little while now. And I feel like you all have arrived at like a great time. I know from a learning perspective, it's great to be able to get data about your learners and about your franchisees' learners. But we're not able to also kind of cross-reference that against profitability or turnover or some other data point that's not inside of the LMS. It's only so useful when you guys kind of bring it to that level where, we can make key decisions based on this information now.
Absolutely. So if you can measure that employee's performance pre-training versus post-training, and then evaluate that across different locations. Then you can get a really good picture of what's working well. What's my employee turnover? What amount of training do I need to give to those employees for them to be successful? And it's that path to success. And we're always looking for that proper workflow to help that brand be successful, and then take that process and scale and grow their locations because of this stuff works. And it's a lot easier with our platform and the capabilities that we have with that to help them achieve their success. We've got customer testimonials that speak very much to them being overwhelmed, managing their business on Excel spreadsheets to mitigate those gaps in functionality that these tools don't provide. And we provide all of that in that single pane of glass. It's all designed to be low click, high output, see the information, make decisions, because you have the business intelligence and information at your fingertips.
I absolutely love hearing that. And one of the things that I kind of, gleaned onto was the fact that I feel like Maestro can help everything from an emerging franchisor to an existing franchisor. I feel like with an existing, you're going to get data and you're going to be wowed. You're going to be like, oh my goodness, right? Like I had no idea that these two things correlated or existed, or there was a cause and effect. Whereas if you're kind of new to franchising and maybe you're still emerging, you might not have had 10 years with 100 units and not really realizing what you didn't know. And so I feel like it kind of supports both ends of franchising. Is that a fair assessment?
It's fair. And one of the things that's really important, based on the life cycle of where your brand is, we can match that tech stack to that brand. If you need 3 system solutions or a modicum of different functionality, we put those modules in, and then 2 years later, oh, hey, we need to add a HR module, we need to add learning management, or we need to add social media components. We can put those in on the back end, deploy it to all the locations without ever, nobody has to go to the site. Nobody has to go out there and touch anything. So we have reduced cost capabilities and efficiencies in the way we do things that just, we pass that along to our customers as well.
Yeah, I can sort of testify to what it's like to work with you guys and what it's like to try to solve a client's challenge. And it's really obvious that the client, comes first and foremost for you all. And you guys are not afraid to get on a call, have a conversation, and identify what the challenge is and overcome it. And I love that level of customer service that comes out of your organization. And I think that's what makes us such great partners. So kudos to you guys.
No, I think it's at some point you ended up kind of doing different things. So I ended up going and working for Oracle in the SaaS world, and then Monty was with IT service management. So when we kind of started putting this together, we were able to bring different elements, right? So I kind of moved more into the business side, customer side, and I was able to bring some of those learnings back into. So what you're seeing in Ochatect is a culmination of all these last 20 years of experiences on both sides. The other element that we were very conscious when we built the Maestro is to make it a platform where the adoption is easier. So the biggest issue with most systems is if it's a complicated system, then the adoption doesn't happen.
Yeah,
That's right. That's
So
right.
when you look at the Maestro, when you're using the Maestro, it's pretty powerful, but it doesn't overwhelm you the moment you log on. It allows you to dive in layer by layer to get all the data points, but it's not like you click in and the first screen, you see all this analysis.
I feel like you're almost getting like a fractional CTO.
You really are. And to Madhav's point with that, I mean, if you take some multi-thousand location franchises that are currently out there, and you look at the amount of money that they spend for their IT, and not only in the infrastructure on a hardware perspective, but also the salaries each month, we can do that for a fraction. I mean, we have I won't name the name, but we've done the study with that. Our cost would be literally 10%. And this is multi-million-dollar costs every month. So when you think about putting that back and injecting that back into the company, there's a lot of things that you could do with that. That's really what we strive for. That's our passion, is to help these companies grow and scale in ways that they didn't even know was possible, and save them a lot of money at the same time, and just make their day better. So if they're on the platform for 30 minutes and they can go off and spend the rest of their day growing their business versus managing a spreadsheet or some tool for 4 or 5 hours a day, that's the transformation that we're helping them achieve.
You guys have been in the franchising space for a few years now. And can you tell us what's been your favorite franchising conference you've been to, and why?
I think the national franchise shows with Michael Hyam We've developed a really good relationship. They're both in the US and Canada. They're an absolute blast. The relationships we've built with the supplier side, with the franchisees and the franchisors, those sales and marketing people, it blends over into the IFPG groups, IFA groups. Those have been personally really, really enjoyable. With the Springboard conference that we attend every year, that's also very enjoyable with the Fishman teams.
Tell our audience, what does an ideal client look like for Maestro? Are they a certain number of units? Are they in franchising? Do they have 5 or more systems they're trying to connect? What is it you guys kind of look for in a client?
There's two kinds of. It's really about that multi-location piece, but it's clients that are looking to solve a problem that they can't solve themselves. And we can help them with that. If they're really interested in, I want to go blow this up and have 500 locations, we can help them get there, get their systems and their processes and applications. And really what we work for is to make them look as smart as possible and to help their franchisees, right? We understand those systems. And when we talk about franchise systems, and when we first jumped into that market, people talked about franchise systems. And so I really pushed on that to say, what exactly is a franchise system? And more often than not, it was a glorified Excel spreadsheet up on Google Docs. And so that's what we can do with a platform. Get something that lives and grows and evolves with the life cycle of your business, so you know what's going on, so you can be on top of everything and spend minutes, not hours in it, so you can go grow your business and do the things you need to do to be successful.
Typically, when you talk to us, and Doug, you've been on calls with us, you probably heard me keep saying franchise tech stack, right?
Yes.
So what you've seen in the evolution of industries in general, not necessarily has to be franchise, but you see this evolution of what we call a technology stack, and you see it in all industries. It is what we always talk about as a franchise tech stack, because when you look at, like Monty said, depending on where you are in your life cycle of a brand or where you're going to begin, your franchise technology stack has all the different elements you need. Like I said, the LMS, your CRM, if you have a manufacturing piece comes into it. If you have financials comes into it, you have your POS system comes into it. All of this consists of your technology stack. I think also makes it unique is we don't come and tell you, you have to use this POS, or you have to use this accounting platform. So if you like a Clover, you like a Square, you like a certain LMS, and the trick is how do you connect the tech stack together?
Yeah.
And the reason why it becomes important, because you may outgrow a certain application as you grow in your life cycle of your brand, right? And then your tech stack should not be broken just because I decided to replace, let's say, Square POS with a Clover POS. Or I went from zero accounting to QuickBooks accounting. Or I went from this manufacturing company to this manufacturing. Or I went from this LMS to another LMS. And I went from Soshi to Promo Republic. Or I did this loyalty software with this loyalty software. Because the fundamentals of the system remain the same. The name of this application can change depending on where you are as a client. You may use Pipedrive for your CRM. Maybe you outgrow it and you want to go to HubSpot. Maybe you outgrow that, you want to go to Salesforce. But how do you connect these systems together? So the orchestration, which is why the name Ochatect comes as orchestrated architecture, is by doing an orchestration layer. When you pull in the fundamentals of the systems together, no matter what you change at the name level, the fundamental system is remaining the same. So that becomes an important piece, because your franchise tech stack has to grow with you, has to be adaptable with you. The functionalities and the features you add today at 5 locations is different what you add when you're 10 locations and 20 locations and 30 locations. You may I need a loyalty software, but I don't need a loyalty software when I have 5 locations. How do I add that in? Now I'm 10 locations deep or 20 locations deep. That is the beauty of an orchestration platform, because now you're giving the power back to the brand, allowing them to change systems without breaking the fundamental business architecture layer.
Could you tell our audience how to get in touch with you guys? Is it email? Is it social? How would you like them to kind of get in touch with you all after watching this?
Just go to the website and book a demo, Ochatect.com.
Monty, Madhav, thank you so much for coming on 5 Franchise Questions. I'm Doug Mark. Until we meet again, thanks so much for following us. We truly appreciate it. Make sure to hit the like button, as well as we'll be sending out more of these. So stay tuned for next month's interview. Cheers.